Southern Italy, actually. Anyway, thank you, Joanne. That really led into my talk. I'm going to kind of Pizzelloize it, so don't get too upset. But you were right on target. Anyway, it's good to be here. You know, it's been a wonderful day, and I really enjoyed being with you folks yesterday, and so did Stella. That was fun. Thank you. Anyway, it's good to be here focusing on the empowering theme for August, which is Unity Conscious. I thought I'd do it a little differently today. What I want to do is, rather than redefine what Unity Consciousness is all about, I thought I'd use a story, and I need to thank Jean Krieghoff, my friend, for this story. She sent it to me. You know, I'm going to use that story. It's her birthday, so I might as well honor her with the story. That kind of really identifies what we mean by Unity Consciousness. Should we do it? Okay, let's go for it. Anyway, the nurse at a hospital ushered in this serviceman to the bedside of a man that was having, he had a very bad, disastrous heart attack. He was an older person, an old man, and he was heavily sedated. So she brings this serviceman near the bedside, and she said to the man, she said, "Your son is here." And he didn't open his eyes, so she had to say it 2 or 3 times. She says, "Your son is here." And finally, after repeating it the 3rd time, he opened his eyes, extended his hand to the serviceman, and here's this heavy-duty Marine, grabs the hand, and with love squeezes it, and he showed his love energy to it. It's so sad. But anyway, and so the Marine sat down, provided a chair by the nurse, and he's sitting here, and all night he held this person's hand, saying things to the old man that would comfort him, show him love and affection. It was pretty awesome. The nurse would come in during the night, and she'd say, "Maybe you ought to take a break." He says, "No." So anyway, dawn came, and the Marine was there the whole night. Dawn came, and the man made his transition. He left, he planted. So he goes out, and the Marine goes out, and he talks to the nurse, and he says he made his transition, he's gone. And then she started to console him. "I'm sorry that your dad passed on." He said, "Wait a minute, who was that man? Who was that man?" And the nurse said, "That was your father." He said, "It wasn't my father. I'd never seen that guy in my whole life. It wasn't my father." She said, "Well, why didn't you tell me that when I ushered you into the bedside?" She says, "Because I knew it was a mistake, and I went along with you, and then I saw this old man, and he really needed his son. And I wanted to fill in for him." Isn't that cool? Yeah. That's cool. Let's clap for this guy. This story, and I love it because it kind of exemplifies what we mean when we talk about unity consciousness. What exactly is it? This story identifies what we mean by unity consciousness at a very subjective, heartfelt level. We know what unity is all about. We know because many of us watch TV and we watch football games and basketball games, or am I the only one that does that? Stella does. But we know that people... She has no choice. No, she likes it. But we know that unity means people coming together, working for a common goal. And in athletics, they come together and they're together and they're going to win the game. Or if it's in business, people coming together to support a vision. You know, that's all kind of good stuff. So that's at the objective level. And it's pretty cool. It's okay. Here at the PLC, what do? We sing about it at a more deeper subjective level. We say, "I am," the unity song, "I am one, we are one, I am you, you are me, and we are one." You know how I am on these songs. But anyway, we sing about it. I'm not sure it really goes very deep, though, or deep enough for us. And so the mystics, and you got into this, Joanne, I really appreciate that. At the subjective level, mystics say that this is the highest form of consciousness we could possibly have, is unity consciousness. It's a consciousness of oneness, it's a consciousness of beingness, but we don't even understand what that means. What does it mean? And so today I want to kind of get into it a little bit and maybe talk to you about what it really is. To me, when we get into unity consciousness, we have a community within us. I don't know if you know this or not, I know you do, that many of the mystics tell us that our bodies are a community of thinking, living organisms called cells. And I hear all kinds of how many there are. I'd say around 50 trillion cells. But these are living entities. And I feel when I'm in that consciousness of unity, that I am that knowingness, that I am not only one with it, but I'm vibrating, and you said it somewhat, I'm vibrating at this highest level of calibration that I could possibly be at. But I'm not doing it just Angelo. Every cell in my body is vibrating at this tremendous level of closeness, of oneness, and knowing that I am that activity of this divine, and that I change the outlook that I have on the human drama. And what it is a total oneness that is hard to explain. We have a very difficult time talking about it or explaining what it is. I agree with Joanne when she said that very few people really experience it to that degree, but we do experience it. But I think we experience it somewhat back and forth, as she said. And the bottom line is this, that when we are in that consciousness of oneness, where we're vibrating at this tremendous level, what this Marine did for us and how he exemplified it was, he released all concern for self. He was there for this individual. He didn't worry about himself, spending the entire night, being there. All his concern was for this individual right now. He zeroed in on a love nature for this individual. He was there for that person. So what he was doing, we talk about the attributes of God. When I'm in that unity, or you're in that unity consciousness, we are expressing the attributes of God in everything we're doing. He was expressing the attributes of God in love, compassion, caringness, release of self, forgiveness, name all those good things. He was there doing it. And so when we see that unity consciousness is something pretty special. And what it is living the nature of God. Isn't that interesting? We live the nature of God. What does that mean to us? When I'm living the nature of God, what does this mean? It means many things to me. It means that when I'm confronted with anything outside that's in this physical realm, I'm not sucked into it and become a victim of it. That I'm living the nature of God. What that means is that I'm experiencing something, I'm witnessing something. This is my duty assignment. I'm on this planet to experience a whole enchilada of human life. And that means the so-called good and the so-called bad. Because it's not neither good nor bad, it just is. And when we're in that consciousness of unity of God itself, we can be there as the witness to the drama without labeling it or doing anything with it, not taking it home to mama. We all go through the valley of the shadow of death, or the valley of the shadow of death. But we don't have to necessarily make our tent there and stay there. We all have these ups and downs, because we're here to experience all that, the so-called good and the so-called bad, but it's all is. So it's important for us to experience, perhaps, the so-called negative, because it gives us a contrast to when we experience the good, the so-called good. But it's all the same, isn't it? So anyway, so being in that activity of God and being the nature of God is what I consider unity consciousness. And we can all experience it. I'll give you a story of how that works. There's a story that came forth about a lady who wanted to give of service to children. She's a teacher. She wanted to be of service, and how can she really do that? How can she provide comforting and love to kids? So she went to this large school system that had a program that offered help and tutoring to kids who were in the hospital. Some of them were pretty bad off. And she would then provide services to kids. And that was her. So here is a person who I defined a few minutes ago as someone who's living the nature of God, and that's that unconditional love.